Acting National Chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Ambassador Umar Damagum, has accused some of the party leaders, including members of the Board of Trustees, of complicity in the ongoing crisis in the party's National Working Committee. Damagum, who made the allegation, cautioned fellow leaders against actions capable of undermining the forthcoming zonal congresses. He said this in his opening remarks during the 78th Board of Trustees meeting in Abuja. The party chairman, whose remarks appeared to be a veiled response to an address earlier presented by the Board of Trustees chairman, Senator Adolphus Wabara, said, "I want to say this with the highest sense of responsibility. Part of this crisis that you see today within the National Working Committee is propelled by our leaders who are supposed to unite us. And as the conscience of this party, some of us are also complicit. We should look inwards and search our conscience. This party is dear to all of us. It is indeed the only thing we have. It's very unfortunate, I would say it the way it is, where people are called. We all know the working of NWC. Some of you here have been NWC members." Damagum explained that despite the party's challenges, it remains the only hope of Nigerians. He further said, "We should sheathe our swords, work towards uniting ourselves so that we'll have a credible vehicle that can challenge what is bedeviling us." That is Damagum there speaking and accusing Board of Trustee members and also party members of being complicit in PDP crisis so far. What do you make of his position? And then the position of the Board of Trustees, particularly the Board of Trustees chairman, Adolphus Wabara.
Well, it's unfortunate that the opposition party, the PDP, that's the leading opposition party in the country, is enmeshed in this kind of crisis. You can't have democracy without the opposition. What it means is that the APC-led administration can just go ahead and do anything. The opposition is supposed to challenge. The president and the APC is supposed to be looking at the preparation of they are supposed to be challenged by the preparation of the AP. But so far, PDP has shown that the chairman said is the only hope for Nigeria. PDP, from everything, does not in any way showing that they are truly the hope of Nigerians. They are in a deep crisis, but you can't rule out the fact that leaders of the party, BOT members and National Working Committee members are part of the crisis. What the national chairman said is in order, because you can't have this deep crisis without stakeholders of the party. This party, the crisis is not caused by ordinary members of the party, not even the state chapter. The crisis is between the BOT chairman is on one side, and the party chairman is on one side. Some members of the National Working Committee are also on the side of the BOT, so they are divided. So it is the party is splitted. If I say it's between the NWC and the BOT, I'm not mistaken, because the BOT chairman is on one side and the NWC
but some
is
of
on
the
one side.
NWC, on the other hand, is also divided. You know,
now, the BOT
divided.
also, not all BOT members are the BOT chairman. So you see, the whole thing is. Let me ask you. Yeah, the constitution provides that where there is crisis, party members, including National Assembly members and Assembly members, can now defect. That's the justification for their defection. What is happening now, does it justify the defection of the 27 lawmakers in Rivers State? Because so many persons have said that there is no crisis in PDP and the 27 lawmakers.
The question would be, at the time when this happened, was there a crisis? At the time when this happened, was there leadership crisis in the party? The question is leadership crisis. You know, one would say, was there? If I ask you if there was leadership crisis at the time this defection happened, would you say yes?
But the PDP crisis did not just start.
Was there leadership crisis in Rivers State at the time of the defection?
The constitution did not say leadership
limit it to
the state. There is crisis in PDP. PDP is one. There is crisis in PDP. The National Working Committee is divided. The BOT is divided. This is PDP.
But then let's not delve into Rivers State politics, because on one hand, you know, the lawmakers have said that they did not defect. You understand? Now the question is, did they defect or did they not defect? The initial defection, was it accepted by the parties? Was it ratified? Is PDP saying that they are still members? Is APC saying they are not members or they are still members? These are questions that, you know, it has a lot of answers. Well, but right now they are saying they have not defected. So far they have been active in party politics in PDP in Rivers State. So let's just dwell more around the national politics, you know, the PDP crisis at the national level. Now, on one hand, you know, a lot of people point fingers to Atiku Abubakar at that his presidential ambition was actually what launched the party into this crisis, considering that there was also a gentleman's agreement among politicians that it was the turn of the South to produce presidents or the presidential candidates, which APC did, Labour Party did, but in the case of PDP, it was Atiku Abubakar, who over the years his ambition has always been, you know, front burner whenever elections of this nature is coming up. And now, from his body language so far, it appears that he's also angling to come out again, regardless of whatever agreement that has been had. Now, how do you even see the position of Atiku Abubakar so far, you know, and how allegedly complicity has been in PDP crisis? How do you see his position and his ambition to still possibly run in 2027? How do you see it affecting the PDP and possibilities of mending fences?
Well, that's even the reason why I don't see an end to the crisis in the PDP. Because Atiku is bent on becoming the president of the country, and he does not have any other platform than the PDP. Because the PDP seems to be, despite the challenges, despite the crisis, seems to be the leading opposition party in the country. So, except for what we saw, was it yesterday, where the likes of Chibike, Rotimi Amechi, Erofai, Atiku, and other key political players in the country, under the guise of national central democracy and all that, which so many persons believe
it could be a potential merger.
Yeah, merger. So, except for that, Atiku will want to run for president under the PDP. And for fairness, for equity, and for justice, power should not be in the north. That's I'm talking about 2027, because Buhari led this country for 8 years. Tinubu and like he said, political parties agreed that power should move to the south, and APC obeyed that. Atiku refused to, because of his personal ambition. He wanted to be president at all costs. So he insisted, being in charge of the party structure. I don't want to say he installed himself, but he took he won the party ticket and became the presidential candidate of the party. And so many persons in the PDP who felt that no, even Northerners among them said no, power should shift to the south. And so many of them worked against the ambition of Atiku, not because they didn't like him as a person, but because they want equity, they want justice, they want power to come to the south. And Atiku lost in that election. He lost not just because he is not popular. He lost because his own family members, PDP members, worked against him. Those he relied on to push him through, betrayed. They were part of those who they contributed to his defeat. Now he is back again. the power has not. This is just 2 years, barely 2 years, right, into the administration of Tinubu, who is from the south. There is crisis in PDP. The crisis is all about, like what you just said. 2027 is very far, but politicians have started projecting themselves. They started electing executive and party building structure of those who will assist them get whatever thing they want in 2027, and that is why that is the cause of the crisis in PDP. Atiku is bent on getting the ticket, but I don't think is at this point where power just left North for another Northerner to come and take over power in 2027. It does not show fairness. So Atiku should, yes, he want to be president, but let him be able to contain his ambition, because as it is now, it is his ambition that is responsible for the crisis in the PDP. And I don't think even no Nigerian should support such kind of thing. Power should be able. In fact, at a point, there was a proposal for constitutional amendment to allow power to rotate round the geopolitical zone in the country. If we want to be as one, as so many persons have said that Nigeria is one indivisible entity, then it should not just be a saying. It should reflect in the power sharing. Power should move round to the different geopolitical zones. Power should have a sense of becoming president, not in a country where you don't have access to power. You can't even because of where you're coming from. You can never be president in this country, because either you're from because you're a minority. Because I'm sure what he's doing that is because he's from the north. You feel that the north has the numerical strength to vote him into power. But we saw how that disappointed him in the last election. So it is his ambition. That's the point. Ambition that is responsible for the crisis in the PDP, and he needs to. If PDP will provide the alternative platform for Nigerians in 2027, then he needs to be very careful of his ambition. If not, the crisis, what we are seeing in PDP may end up losing more states if this crisis continues.
But then it appears that the thing now is that the crisis now has, it has now developed wings and branches and has trickled down to the states. To a large extent, the national crisis has even further balkanized PDP in Rivers State. So it's not just happening at the national, but it's also weakening the party structure in the states. Now, and when you're looking at these things critically, it appears that PDP is not just having crisis, but they are factionalized. Right? Now it appears that we have the camp of the FCT, we have the camp of the Atikus. Right, and then you see people, anybody that aligns with Atiku is seen to be an enemy to this other camp, and anybody that you see on the side of the FCT, that is what is going on. And on the other hand, you also have, like in Rivers State, for example, Rivers State, like some politicians have said, appears to be partyless. It's a situation where you now see people in PDP who are also APP, people in APP who are in APC, people in APC who are in PDP, and vice versa. Right now, this appears to, the crisis is beginning to transition into something quite interesting in the political ecosystem in Nigeria and as well as Rivers State. And not just that, there also appears to be an involvement, like people no longer care much about the vehicle of the party. It's now about the individual. It showed in 2023, where members of a political party voted for people in other parties that they felt had their interest at heart, while members of their party who they feel probably did not have their interest at heart, they did not vote for them. Now, this has started, and I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon. How do you see this affecting elections in 2027? And how do you think political parties will be able to handle this?
Well, this is not the first time political party is having crisis. The PDP, the PDP, this is not the first time. And at a point, some persons who were not happy with the situation in the party left the party. To do merger with what we have today as the APC. So, but in all this, the NEC, which is the highest decision-making body of the party, is there to meet. The national chairman in his briefing said the NEC is supposed to hold February this year. Until NEC, the PDP NEC is held.
Did the national chairman come out to say that? Or was it the PDP Governors Forum last year that came out to mandate the National Working Committee to organize, make sure that NEC meeting holds before February 25?
So I'm sure the national chairman, whether it's February or not, but I'm sure the NEC has a lot to do when there is crisis. APC has similar crisis. When Adams Oshomole was the national chairman, and the NEC held, and this issue was resolved. So the PDP should go ahead to
that NEC meeting.
NEC meeting. The NEC will take. The NEC is the highest decision, but whatever decision the NEC takes is final. So, of course, some of this crisis is around the chairmanship of the PDP.
And now the secretaryship as well.
Now we have entered. So the NEC, I think at this time the PDP should go ahead and have a NEC meeting. The NEC will have a lot to do in terms of resolving the crisis. If after the NEC meeting, whoever that is not okay with the decision of the NEC can look for alternative platform to continue.
All right, very well. Very well. I'm still talking on PDP crisis. Now on to the National Secretary crisis in PDP. Crisis in the People's Democratic Party took a new twist on Wednesday as Samuel Anyanwu and Sunday Udokoye clashed over the position of National Secretary of the party. Both men laid claim to the position at the ongoing PDP Board of Trustees meeting at the party's national headquarters in Abuja. Udokoye arrived at the venue of the meeting before Anyanwu and acting national chairman, Ambassador Umar Damagum. But when Anyanwu arrived, Udokoye was forced out of the meeting by suspected thugs, a situation that led to an altercation. This led to Udokoye screaming and urging his supporters to prevent his ejection. The position of the PDP National Secretary has been a contentious issue since Anyanwu left to contest the Imo governorship position, which he lost. In his absence, the Southeast caucus of the party endorsed Udokoye to replace him. After losing the Imo governorship election, Anyanwu returned to the party's national secretariat to reclaim his seat as national secretary, triggering a fresh crisis in the opposition party. An appeal court sitting in Enugu had on December 20, 2024, upheld an earlier decision of High Court removing Anyanwu as PDP National Secretary and affirmed Udokoye as the authentic holder of the position. Anyanwu had accused the party's former Southeast Zonal Vice Chairman, Ali Odefa, of plotting his removal from office. But it's also very important to note that an appeal court in Abuja also reinstated Anyanwu as the National Secretary and restrained PDP from removing him pending when Supreme Court judgment is given over the matter. Now, what do you make of this story?
Well, I'm not aware of the appeal court order reinstating Anyanwu.
There was an appeal court order of appeal court seated in FCT Abuja.
Okay.
Yes, it restrained PDP from removing Anyanwu as the national secretary, right, and insisted that nobody acts in that capacity until or unless Anyanwu gives the person the power to act or speak on his behalf, and said that Anyanwu remains the PDP national secretary until Supreme Court gives judgment.
Well, like you said, it's the Supreme Court that will decide. As it stands now, the status quo remains. Anyanwu remains the National Secretary of the party until the Supreme Court says otherwise. Because he is the National Secretary of the party. And that the Court of First Instance and the Appellate Court give order, which I am sure has been appealed to the Supreme Court. So the status quo remains until the highest court of the land decides on that matter. So I don't see the reason for the crisis, if not for personal interests and people who want to force themselves on the party. Like it's all boiled down to the factionalization of the party. And some persons who are not comfortable with the national chairman, that's Anyanwu, brought in Okoye.
The Southeast
caucus brought in Okoye. And even in the meeting yesterday, they also brought him to do their bidding. But when the owners of the party came, the music changed, and he was forced out of the meeting because he is not supposed to be in the meeting. But my point is, yes, he may have won at the High Court
and High Court and
Appeal Court. So let him just exercise patience for Supreme Court to give their verdict on that. It's not enough that you won an appeal. There is a process in the judiciary. When the matter is supposed to move, that matter is supposed to move from a High Court to appeal and to Supreme Court. So until that is done, you can now say that this matter is exhausted. As it is now, that matter is not exhausted. The Supreme Court will have to hear the matter to decide if Okoye is the secretary of the party or is Anyanwu. So for now, let the status quo remain. Let Okoye exercise patience until Supreme Court decide on the matter. There is no point. What we saw yesterday, I watched the video. I saw how he was. I think when Okoye came back and attempted to gain access, and he was resisted by the man on. I think the one that wore white is the thugs. From how he was.
The way he was described by the news.
How he was described by the news. Chased him out of the party secretary. We don't need to go into all of this, but let us wait for Supreme Court to decide on the matter. Then we can now say, okay, this is the National Secretary of the party.
Which brings me to another point, and that has to do with the position of or the role of judiciary in political crisis in Nigeria.
But we have said before now that the judiciary is not helping the situation.
An appeal court, gave judgment. Another appeal court
gave a counter.
Is countering the judgment of an appeal. I mean, there are courts of coordinate jurisdiction, or does this only apply to the high courts and cannot apply to appeal courts?
No, it's the same thing.
So why will an appeal court give an order, that is conflicting to the judgments of a sister court?
But I'm also, that's why I said I'm not aware that another appeal court
it happened.
Gave order when there is a substituting order by a court of coordinate jurisdiction. That's to tell you that the judiciary is not helping matter when it's come to political crisis. Not just political crisis. I've said severally that the judiciary need to look inward. There are lots of persons who have no business being in the judiciary. So they have contributed to the crisis. Just look at Rivers State, for example. At a point, the appeal court have to set up a panel to look at all the cases and harmonize them. So it shouldn't be that. What I know is that whenever a matter is filed before a court, matter of the same subject matter, another court of the same jurisdiction do not have powers to entertain that same matter. But we
are seeing the difference.
It's a different thing. I file matter and I feel that this court is not giving me what I want. I'll go back and file in another court of coordinate jurisdiction, and I get what I want, and I use that one to parade. So the judiciary also the CJN needs to look at some of these judgments that are coming from the court. You saw what happened yesterday. It is as a result of this conflicting court order. So something has to be done.
Because Udokoye on one hand is bradishing a judgment that said he is the national secretary. And
on the other hand,
also, claiming authenticity on a court order that restrains the PDP from, acting otherwise. And to a large extent, it is now the persons involved that will choose, because now they are leaving people and Nigerians to choose which order do I obey, which order do I not obey, which one do I implement. You implement this one, you're in contempt of this one. You implement this other one, you're in contempt of this one. So the question is, what's the way forward?